I was recently asked by a client how to experience joy. And at first, I went to open my mouth and thinking, this is going to be easy to answer. And I went to speak and nothing came out because I was like, how do you experience joy? And she went on to say, how like she looks at people like myself and people she interacts with, and thinks about even her father was that way, where she looks at people who experience joy in just little things, and she's like, I don't know how to do that. And and I really had to take time to think about it. And it was during a session, and I said, I'm going to have to take some time to really think about this and reflect on it and get back to you. And so over the past week, I've been reflecting on it. And one thing that I've come up with is that first, practicing joy, experiencing joy is a choice. And I realize that because, I look at this woman, and, I coach primarily individuals who've experienced trauma and, significant hardship in their life. And so most of my clients have experienced an extreme amount of heartache, and like myself. And so I had to really reflect on my life and in the fact that I have been very bubbly and happy most of my life. And I wondered, like, why was that? So I've been thinking. And one thing I know for certain is that it was an act of defiance in some ways, me trying to stand up to my abusers. My adolescent and teenage years were some of the hardest years of my life, and it's where I was victimized the most number of times by multiple people. And it was like, and some of them abused me over and over again, and it was like they actually wanted to break me. Like one of them was particularly degrading of me, and it was like he wanted to break me down so I'd stop smiling. And so it was like I refused to stop smiling. I refused to stop being happy and to allow, these miserable people and um, really terrible people in many ways, were trying to bring me down. I was just refusing to allow them to win. And so I chose to be happy instead of focusing on what the pain I was experiencing. And so as I was reflecting on this period of my life where I still smiled, even though felt like my heart was breaking, and I just, it was really traumatic time in my life, but I still chose to smile. And what I realized is that I was actually making a choice to choose to focus on the good in life instead of the bad. And what I got reflecting on is in my mid-20s, after finding my significant other dead, I fell into a very significant depression, and I was very suicidal. It was a really bad time for me. And and during this past week, I've been reflecting on that period of my life when my depression was at its worst. And what I can say is that during those times when I was most down and didn't want it to exist anymore, it was because of what I was focusing on. I was focusing on how many times I've experienced immense pain in my life. And here, at 25, I'd only lived a quarter of a century, and most of it had been extremely painful. And I was like, I don't know if I can handle, even another year of this kind of pain. But that's what I was focusing on, is pain. And with the life that I experienced that to that point, it wasn't hard to find pain everywhere I looked. And so when I chose to focus on pain, that's all I saw, and that's all I experienced was pain. And And when I realized that I had a choice, I had two choices. I could live, or I could give up and not live anymore. And when I decided I wanted to live, it then became, well, how was I going to do that? I could not, if I wanted to experience life differently than I was, then, well, I could not keep repeating, the same thoughts and behaviors and everything that I was before, that was keeping me stuck. And so what I started to do was really look for things to be grateful for in every day. And I started to be like that, like almost like getting back to the child in me and the teenager in me that did find beauty in everyone and everything and in every day. Even though, life was trying to break me down, I was still able to find beauty in every day. And so in my mid-20s, when I decided I wanted to persist and I wanted to keep going, then I decided I needed to restart that practice that I did, so many years before to keep me going in the face of immense adversity. And so I started to pay attention to the people that I was spending time with that, enriched my life. And I started to pay attention when I was outside to beautiful things. And I just paid attention to things that were good and beautiful. And what I realized is when I was focusing on things that were good and beautiful, I wasn't thinking about the pain. My brain was focusing on beauty and not pain. And so after I responded recently to my client, and I was telling her a little bit about this, about how it's a choice, and it takes changing your point of focus. And so like myself and others who've been in this very stuck place, when I hear her, she's very negative. She talks about people very negatively, life very negatively. She says, she'll use the words to say she wants to change, but everything she does is bad or not that great. And so how are you ever going to experience joy in your life if everything you look at is not great or that good, or people are boring or unintelligent, or whatever it may be that you may use to talk about people and circumstances. If you're in a similar situation like my client currently is, or like I was when I was in that very deep depression of mine, if you're in that place where you just feel like devastation is surrounding you, there's not a good thing happening in your life, I encourage you to start challenging that viewpoint that you have and really see, is it true? Is it true that the people around you are boring, or that they're self-centered, or they don't care about you, or whatever it is, whatever the language is that you're using to talk about the people and circumstances in your life. Like, really evaluate whether it's true. And if it is true, like if it is true that the people you're surrounded by are really not nice people, and, well, I encourage you to get around some new people. If the environment you're in is not safe, or it's not comfortable in whatever way, and you don't think it's possible to shift your thinking, well, then what can you do to get the heck out of that situation? Um, and what can you do in the meantime to find the good in life that will give you a little motivation to keep going when your pursuit of getting out of your current difficult situation becomes hard? And so today, as I probably can tell, I'm outside. I don't know if you could see some of the view I have today. I don't know if you could see much from this side, but it's a beautiful day, and there's some people coming down the trail, so I'm going to end the video soon. But on days like today, it's easy to find things to be grateful for, but it's important on even days where you don't have beautiful views and sunshine to find something to be grateful for and to find beauty in every moment, because it's there. and it's your choice to find it. So good luck in finding beauty in every moment. Bye for now.